Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Titan Esports Conquerors League. We're in week 3, and we've got a fun matchup for you today. We've got Roflcopter versus CEN, and I'm pretty excited to see these teams. I'm joined, as always, by the ever-lovely Freedom Potatoes. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. I'm ready to see these two teams face up. Yeah, it's this Conduit Esports lineup is one that I was just looking at their like pages on the SEM Stats site. Great site. Highly recommend checking it out for all your scouting or just curiosity needs. You know, if you want to prove that you're the better player, you can always look at the rating number on there. It gives a big ego boost. But yeah, I think a lot of the Conduit Esports players have been in Titan for a decent number of seasons, while the TPO roster, at least some of the players, didn't have as much data on them. So you know, we've got one team that we've got a little more info on, and one that's a relative newcomer for some of these players. So going to be exciting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this goes. New talent is always fun to see. And, if any of you read the analysis this week, I thought it had some good insights about the kind of the direction these two teams have been going. uh Roflcopter's been looking, up on the up and up. They're both 1-1, but looking more like they're trending in the positive direction. And CEN, there's a lot of questions about their roster and some of their games. I think they had the fastest game of the season so far last week. They had lost in just under 21 minutes, if I read that correctly. I'm gonna double check that. That might have been someone else's game, but I'm pretty sure that's how it went. So
I think you're right about that one. That's
yeah.
It was still like a strong team from what I recall. You know, someone who's also been putting out big performances, but. Games like that, because sometimes it's just a fluke. Sometimes you draft yourself into a hole and you have to do things in the exact certain way. And if things get off the rails early, it's just downhill. So, and it might not be the end of the world for them.
Yeah, I mean, they at least got to play their games, which is more than we can say for some teams from last week. A couple of those bugs still lying through, and some teams still needing to finish up their matches from technical issues. But week 3, these teams, this is a chance for CEN to turn their season, around already, kind of get things back on the right track. And it's going to start with this first game as we get underway into the draft.
Yeah, so we're seeing the Aurora band out early. That's a pick that Funny Beaver has a lot of games on. Makes a lot of sense to see that taken away. Syndra, that's another contested pick in this matchup. I think CEN might want to try to take that away game 2, because I know Darazin likes to play that. And I also saw it in Funny Beaver's pool. So interesting to see mid targeted so heavily at the start. I feel like a lot of teams save their solo lanes for the 4 or 5 picks, but both of those champions I think are pretty blindable. They have a few bad matchups, but mostly if they know what they're doing, they can make it through laning phase. So don't want to let them do that. And Sivir and Trundle, both pretty staple picks. I mean, Sivir just gets to play lane super safe, scale up, deal tons of damage later on. And yeah, some of these fighting-oriented junglers taken off the table now with the Wukong and the Trundle. And the J4, very staple pick of competitive play there too.
Yeah, hasn't had a good showing the last couple of days. I think it is 0-6 at Worlds right now. So the Jarvan has been a little bit of has been an interesting pick to see. Everyone is prioritizing it across every game I've seen, every level of play. So good to see that gone. The Ashe, a solid pickup, very strong AD carry right now. But it's gonna matter what you're pairing it with. So we'll have to see. The Pantheon coming through, one of the strongest junglers still, despite the nerfs, looking great. Also good into the Ashe, be able to lock her down, get into that backline easily. But what are they gonna pair it with? Second pick, it's gonna be the Ahri for them. Okay.
Very strong pairing there. Pantheon, can flash stun. Ahri can follow up with Spirit Rush into the Charm, and usually that's going to be a kill. Even in the early game, if Pantheon flashes on you and you get hit by the Charm, you're probably dead. But the Mel is going to make that a lot harder to do. She can immune the stun or reflect the Charm, and that's a very useful tool for Conduit Esports to pick up. They're also going to grab the Xin Zhao, reliable, fighting jungler, can go toe to toe with Pantheon. And try to lock down the enemies, and also is pretty resistant to burst combos like that with the Crescent Guard.
Yeah, now the question is, what will Roflcopter respond with besides the Zeri? So most of their carries are in, both teams really focusing on getting those carries up early and a jungler to facilitate them. And that leaves support and top for both these teams still to be picked. I'm guessing R5 going to be the top counter pick there for Roflcopter. And I'm interested to see what they're going to look towards with these bans. The set ban and the Poppy makes me think something with a lot of mobility, something that wants to take quick fights and skirmish, like kind of weave in and out of them, and doesn't want to kind of get locked into it, but may also have a little bit of trouble dealing with a lack of mobility. Maybe a Camille or something.
I mean, they've already got 3 champions with dashes. I think even with the draft as it is, Poppy would be a great pick into what TPO has drafted.
That's also fair too.
Yeah, it's and so okay, it's gonna be the Lulu picked up on round 4. Classic pairing with Zeri. Let the hyper carry do hyper carry things. Keep the divers off of them. Probably going to want to pick up like a Mikhail's this game because there is a lot of CC on Conduit Esports side, especially now that they've got that Nautilus, which, you know, yeah, I like the amount of CC that Conduit Esports bot lane has. You know, I think it's pretty hard for the double ranged matchup to really control the wave early because Zeri's early damage is the greatest. So they're really going to have to play, you know, make it through lane and scale into the late game. I think it's going to be challenging for them to put out a ton of pressure in the early phases. So we're seeing the Ornn picked up for Conduit Esports and the Aatrox in response. Staple top lane on the blue side and a pretty solid counter pick in the Aatrox. I think, yeah, you know, he's got 3 melee targets to hit that he's going to be able to drain tank off of the Xin, the Nautilus, and the Ornn. Yeah, but target access could be a concern for him because they've got all that CC. The Ashe and the Mel are great at, you know, kiting out while dealing tons of damage. So we'll see if Aztec Warpriest is able to do his thing on this pick, or if he's going to find himself just getting locked down before he can really get that you know, late game healing power fantasy that Aatrox has.
Yeah, that's, I think, going to be a really big factor here is whether or not he gets to that point, becomes the godly Darkin that he is. Because if he can't, I am worried. Like, this is a very beefy line from CEN. They have a very strong front line, like you said, the strong CC to help them peel, but also, like, it's just going to be difficult to get away from him. Once they're on you, it's going to be hard to run. There isn't a lot of disengage coming out from the side of Roflcopter. You know, the Lulu might be able to help with polymorph or her ultimate, but what else do you have in there? Like, yeah, you got the Zeri dash, but you can't dash every single piece of CC that they hit you with. So I'm curious how that is going to go later in the game. I think those team fights could be very painful for
invade up through the bottom side jungle, but spotted out by a ward. Yeah, I mean, I think for TPO, the game plan is kind of going to be have like the Pantheon and Ahri drive the early to mid game. You know, especially once they hit level 6 and are really able to make like plays around the map, you know, overload one side with numbers. And kind of Aatrox, you know, I think he should be kind of just winning on his own into Ornn at a certain point. So the remaining 4 members should be able to kind of group up and play around that mid jungle duo. And then have the Zeri Lulu as a late game insurance policy. But their top side kind of wants to go in while Zeri is like, you know, a little bit more. She wants to kind of, you know, kite out the fight and maybe not as divey as the rest of those members are. So we'll see how those formations play out when team fights start up.
Yeah, that will be an interesting test point for these teams. But first, they got to get out of the lane, and right now the lanes are looking pretty casual. A little bit of trading here from Darrison in the mid lane onto Beaver. I fully expect the Mel to have kind of the advantage in this matchup. Beaver should never land a charm. You should always be ready to just save the barrier for the attempt on the charm and let it just hit back into her. Or even into the Q, honestly. It's kind of funny to watch her hit herself with her own orb. But yeah, it should be fairly even there to kind of help counteract the fact that Aztec Warpriest should have Ace in a pretty comfortable position in this lane. Like you said, pretty good in the laning phase, especially into the Ornn, who's going to take some time to get online. And in the bot lane, we're already seeing CEN's bot pushing it in, getting some plates, he's trying to get a plate. I don't think they're going to be able to finish this one, but yeah, they already have a nice spot. Like you said, that Zeri going to really struggle in the early game. Doesn't really have a lot of wave clear to start out and really needs those items to come online before her damage really spikes off. Well, Ashe, just Ashe, she has pretty good base stats, honestly.
Yeah, I've been playing like a little bit of ADC just like with my friends in Flex Queue and stuff. I don't know. I feel like Ashe's early damage isn't great on its own, but paired with a Nautilus who can like get you into range to start hitting those slows, once you've got someone in your sights, it can be over for them. But the you know, over the past like year or so, she's gotten I think a couple hits to her W cooldown, and it's very long in the early game. Not as much of like a reliable poke tool as it used to be. As ooh. Big chunk up top.
Aztec Warrior taking a big hit here. I thought he added on ace. He's going to try to pull him back, but too low to really follow up. Yeah, he's got to get away from that. If he gets rammed into that, he's basically dead. And you can see he is now playing a little afraid in this top lane.
Wave should come back into him here, so he will be able to collect that unless he really overplays his hand. But that area on Ornn makes his laning phase so much easier. It doesn't give as much of that, you know, permanent scaling health like the Grasp would, but if you can get yourself into the mid game, into the late game without going down too much or even being ahead, I mean it's a great tool for Ornn in the early game.
Yeah, and we see Swevel grab that blue buff, the whole bottom side of the map rotating up for that fight. And it will go the way of CN. So a good invade to start this out, set Penguin behind, and now they're getting set up with the scuttle. Might be able to even get a double scuttle, honestly, unless Penguin can get over there in time. So yeah, this is looking like a very good start for CN.
So far, so good. Not a huge gold lead. It's, you know, just 300, but the tempo that they've got themselves, you know, this Xinjiao is going to get the second crab, and early leads in the jungle especially can balloon pretty rapidly. I mean, he's up 12 CS already. Should be 16 CS now that the second crab is finished, and the first reset can really make or break the early game for these junglers here.
Yeah, I mean, on the bright side, at least, Pantheon. Oh, first blood in the bottom lane. Hang on. Yipsy managing to pick up the kill onto Hyena Blood. We'll just see if we can get a replay, see what exactly happened there. But CEN just continuing to build on this good start. Up 1,000 gold right now. And looking to continue scaling that. Should be able to get more with these plates if they... Nope, they're going to back up. They're not going to go for the plates. And
Lulu's gonna try to hold the wave here, but it's taking a lot of damage and doesn't have flash, so wave is gonna hit the tower now, but Hyena Blood has returned to pick most of it up, and I didn't actually notice Hyena Blood blew the flash very early. You can see it's you know, three quarters of the way back to being off of cooldown now, which means it was not available for the fight that just happened, and that seems to me like it's just Conduit Esports bot lane taking advantage of the summoner spell disparity there to get themselves that kill.
yeah, I'm looking at the sum, so it looks like a flash and ghost burned by Hyena Blood, and Yipsy and Verzia burned Ignite and Barrier respectively, so maybe it was just Hyena Blood getting a little too jumpy in there, but either way, that is still some gold, thankfully, for the side of TPO. It's only on the Nautilus, but still, kills are kills, and you don't want that to continue to happen down there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a fan of early gold on the supports, honestly. I mean, obviously you want your ADs to hit their power spikes, but support items, you know, the things like the locket are so cheap that if you can get there like several minutes before your counterpart, it can swing a lot of these early game skirmishes like this one we might see around the Dragon.
Yeah, Dragon started up here from the side of C, and TPO is in the area. They're going to charm and land the root onto the mid laner, and Beaver gets blown up. Darrison with the ultimate there, and now they've got the Dragon, and they're looking to maybe get onto Penguin, getting slowed down by Verzia. Gimlet forced to burn the heal, and flash hook forward from Yipsy isn't going to hit, but isn't in turret range, so they will manage to still lock up the Lulu and pick up that kill, get the Feet of Warfare, and a 3-0 start for CEN. This team is looking a lot better so far.
3 kills and the Dragon, a 1.4k gold lead. It's all CEN so far in this early game, and it's you know, the more I look at it, the more I think this Mel is just going to be like an insurmountable problem for TPO this game. There's basically no skill shots other than the Ari charm, which means she can fully devote her mental stack around that reflect usage onto that charm. I mean, there's other things she might want to immune, like I guess like the Aatrox knockup or something. But and that just makes Funny Beaver's job so much harder. And the melee members on the side of TPO are also going to have a hard time getting through that solar snare and just the consistent damage this pick is able to put out. So You know, it's hard because I think when late game rolls around, Darrison's going to be dealing tons of damage, and before then, it's pretty hard to make a play onto the Mel.
Yeah, and not as hard to make it onto the Ari, though. They're not going to be able to find that hook to finish it, but still, that's like a third of her health bar just gone from 2 abilities from Mel, and Mel's only got not even a full item yet, so pretty scary position to be in. Penguin gonna manage to get that Swevel flashing on in, really getting aggressive here. Gonna get the airborne, gonna hit the hook from Yipsy. Penguin forced to flash, he's been ignited, he's ticking down, and he will go. Yipsy gonna get the fadeaway there. 4-0 and 2000. Oh, Darrison,
No.
the solo kill in the mid lane. 5-0, 2,000 gold up, Grubs on the way. This game is just looking fantastic for CEN to start this out.
And it's spiraling out of control over on TPO's side. We're going to get a replay here as, yeah, Darrison has the first move over Funny Beaver, which just makes this position really hard to play for Ari. You know, no vision in that bush. And once that Solar Snare comes through, can't really get away.
Yeah, oh, and hits her with her own charm. Oh, you should have just kept dashing. No reason to try to charm back. Unfortunate. Yeah. I see the idea. Oh, no, we're coming back to Verzizia getting picked up by Hyena Blood, who honestly got a pretty good push in there. So TPO finding something finally. They did have to burn a lot for it, a lot of sums and 2 ultimates, but you know, that's still good to get something into the system, get some gold injected in there.
That Zeri is a major win condition for TPO's side, so they need to get her ahead right now as Yipsy might be in some trouble. Wait, Pele Penguin? Where are you going?
I don't know, he's pretty beefy. He's 2-0-2.
Yeah.
He's a beefy Nautilus.
Pantheon is on a mission elsewhere, it would seem.
Yeah, getting ready to go back, get a little bit more gold and get ready to back up, looking for that first item back. Could be a really big spike for the Pantheon. But now, the game is in kind of gonna, I think, I'd be a lull for a couple of minutes. There aren't any neutrals for the next minute and a half, so seeing teams starting to get the teams starting to get vision ready, prepped around the Dragon Pit will be the next objective, and could be a big fight we see break out down here. There is only 1 TP on the top side. That's Aztec War Priest, and I think we've seen enough times an Aatrox at the TP lead teleport in and turn a whole game on its head with a big fight win from behind. So I think that could be the angle that TPO is looking to get back into this game.
Darrison's TP has just come up as well, but you know, the Mel is in the mid lane and doesn't have quite the same level of flank impact that an Aatrox could. There is that one control where deep in the red side jungle has hold up.
Oh, Swevel, yeah, forced to burn the Crescent Guard and is gonna get charmed up and just taken down. Funny Beaver gonna pick that kill up and a little bit too aggressive from the Jin Zhao. A pause coming through though. I wonder what happened.
Yeah, the jungler for CEN finding himself way too deep in enemy territory. And the other thing for TPOs, they really need to be starting these fights on their turn. I see. It looks like from what we can see on the minimap, Darrison has disconnected. And so we will be waiting for that mid laner to get back in the game before we can resume. But yeah, I think TPO really needs to be taking these fights on their terms, which is hard to do because CEN has so many engaged tools. But you know, you need to somehow like with the Mel bait out that reflect ability. You know, you have Ari dash in instead of using the dash defensively and try to make her use it to open the opportunity for the Charmer. In that fight, we saw, you know, Funny Beaver collapse on the Zinja after he's already been forced to burn the Crescent Guard. And in those situations, it's pretty favorable for the side of TPO. They have closed the lead back down to 1,000 gold. It was at 2,000 a little bit ago. And so yeah, things are looking pretty good, but hopefully we can get that mid laner back and we, you know, get to see how things play out as usual.
Yeah. Hopefully this isn't a permanent issue. It's something they can get fixed pretty quickly. Because CN, like, yeah, they've made a little bit of a mistake there, and they've given back 2 kills, but they're still in a pretty solid position, and they're looking like they could really run away with this and, you know, take this first game with just a couple more plays, a little bit more gold onto that Mel, a little bit more tankiness on that Yeah, so we are going to get a replay of what happened, why Verzia died. We're going to see exactly how Zeri got that kill in just a moment. Here we go. Here's a replay of that kill earlier. So what happened here?
Hyena Blood just teleported a bit on screen there, but...
Okay. Okay, so the engage from everyone. Penguin ulting in from behind to prevent the escape route. Okay, so they just ran him down.
Azeri is...
Yeah, a lot of resources burned there.
A lot of resources burned, but the kill goes on to Hyena Blood, who is I think, at this point, really going to be instrumental to TPO's success if they are going to try to win this game, which of course they're trying. They're trying their best. But
yeah.
Also interesting to note that Hyena Blood, despite the early death to CEN's bottom lane, has actually maintained a CS lead pretty much this whole time. I think even after going down for that first kill, the Zeri was still up a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's just honestly a testament to how well Hyena Blood can pilot this champion, that even when they're down, they can still make sure they're getting that CS and getting those items. And that's it. I mean, it's a good item to have, especially this early in the game. You'll be able to get the stacks up, get that bonus crit. We can see on screen, it looks like it is a router issue, and Darrison is just going to be resetting that. So hopefully we'll be back soon. Have until the pause timer's gone.
I mean, Darrison's such a key point of the team, so even if he comes back, hopefully there's not any like lag issues or anything, because he's 3-0 on the Mel, has that Blackfire Torch completed. I mean, it would be a shame to have technical issues disrupt what has been overall pretty stellar early game from CEN, even though we have seen a few lapses now. I mean, this is, I think that's a lead they should be able to hold on to and maintain. They've got the Ornn as kind of a late game boost with those items that he can forge up upgrades for. Still a ways out on that, but yeah, it's just gonna help match that scaling power that TPO has in the Zeri as that phase of the game rolls around.
And we are at the 11-minute mark, 38 seconds till Dragon spawns. So when they get back, Swevel's only gonna have like 10 seconds from spawn to get, or like 15 seconds actually, or so, to get over there. So it's gonna have to make a mad dash if they want this dragon.
It's gonna be hard for CEN to maintain position around that dragon because they're down the jungler. It's Ashe has no ult, Nautilus has no flash, so if anyone gets jumped on while they're trying to maintain vision over that area, they're pretty likely to die as well, I'd say. And so, yeah, they're going to have to, I think, play it safe, try to just stall out the dragon until Swevel can come back and properly contest that. But it's going to be a tough situation because, 15 seconds to make it back from spawn. You're basically showing up after the dragon's already live, and maybe trying to work your way in for a steal or regroup with the team and force a fight on your own terms. No, they still have the Nautilus. If Nautilus is able to hook into the depth charge with the 3 Talon strike from the Xin Zhao, that's enough to lock anyone down and lead to a kill. But they're gonna have to find the position to make that happen in the first place.
Yeah, I mean we've got a 3-0 Mel. Could be able to stall this out. We've already seen them kind of destroy Funny Beaver in that mid lane. If maybe they pick up a kill on Funny Beaver before this dragon comes up, it could be, could delay the dragon long enough for Swevel to get over there. Looks like we're still haven't heard back yet on if the internet's looking better for it'll probably take a minute or two because it's a router. Oh, there we go.
The reconnect.
They're back. Let's go. Alrighty, so we'll just give it a moment, wait for them, make sure everything's all good, then we'll do an all pause, and we'll be back into it. Of course, there will be that jump from the pause after a couple seconds on live where it will freeze for a moment and we'll get back into the action. So don't worry about that. If you see it, doesn't mean it's enough. It's just a spectator bug. It happens. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of this goes. And here we are, back into the game. 35 seconds to go till the dragon.
35 seconds till the dragon. The Mel is still, I guess, just walking back to base to kind of finish the accidental recall, maybe pick up. Okay, yeah, I think the Darksteel is new for the inventory of the Mel. Very gold efficient item, gives a lot of power. And yeah, gives a lot of power for a cheap price. Even if you don't have any stacks, Darksteel still gives. It's still gold efficient. It's still worth picking up. It does delay your first item a bit, but Darrison already has his first item, so I don't think he's too concerned about any sort of delay in that department.
Yeah, and Verzia doesn't even have the full item yet. Walking back towards this turret, but Penguin and Gimlet are here. Hyena Blood trying to get some plates and maybe trying to bait them out. But without starting that dragon, they will not have the priority into it. So I think they got to get Verzia picked off here.
Question is, does Verzia smell this play? The rest of his team is up towards that, the mid lane side of that river, which means he shouldn't be walking up. If he knows what's good for him, he'll keep his distance from those bottom bushes because they've got good vision control. Despite losing their jungler, CEN was actually able to recoup a lot of vision. I think gambling the play to try and get the 0, 1, and 2 Ashe might not have been the move for TPO, as Pele Penguin is still down here.
What are they doing?
Well, I think they're still trying to make this pick happen, and it may come to fruition, but that's a lot of lost time.
Yeah, like you're gonna get a kill here, but is that worth it? Wait, they let the dragon go with basically no contest. Yipsy now trying to run here, gonna get stunned up. 2 kills might make this worth it, and it is a shutdown, so that could be worth it in their eyes. But I do agree, it felt a little unnecessarily long to wait.
I mean, in terms of the gold value, if that kill hadn't come through from the Ornn up top, they would have neutralized the gold. But they are down 2 dragons, and Xin Zhao is also getting Pele Penguin's topside camps, which means he's going to be able to continue to build that individual lead in the jungle. He is up 20 CS, which is, I'd say a pretty significant lead for, a role where both of these champs kind of just are clearing and ganking. And I think, should be a pretty similar pace in this game.
Yeah, the pace has been about the same, but still CEN's jungler holding the lead. Though that shutdown gold might have given Penguin a little bit more to bring him back into it. They haven't got to get back in yet. Still clearing the rest of the jungle over here, and looking at the gold, actually in the lead Penguin is now, despite the 20 CS lead for Swivel. So just the power of those kills and assists, and the hook from Yipsy landing onto Funny Beaver. Now looking for Verzia. Pantheon coming in, and Penguin is going to help Funny Beaver pick that kill up. Once again, the Pantheon strikes on Ashe.
Yipsy throws out the hook, but it's biting off a little more than he can chew, and kind of baits his own AD carry into death now. Verzia is now 0, 3, and 2, and just the amount of threat that the mid jungle from TPO has is proving to be a challenge for CEN. This, they engage on Ahri, but she goes in with the help of Pele Penguin's ultimate and completely turns the play around from, what wasn't even looking that bad in the first place. I think making a pick onto Ahri is already a tough task.
Yeah, it's the hard part. Pantheon can kind of come in from wherever as long as he has the ultimate, but speaking of coming in from wherever, Swivel coming in on the top side, looking for this Aatrox. Ornhorn gonna come in. The Ram isn't even needed. Swivel just decides to flash in and pick it up himself. So another kill on this top side, setting Aatrox further back. But in the mid lane, Penguin looking for Darrison. Hasn't found him yet. Gonna throw the spear and get a little bit of damage back. But overall, Darrison looking to play a little bit on the edge here. Got to be very careful. This Pantheon can jump you at any time, so you should definitely not be walking up towards that bush. As Ill Penguin going forward, flashing in with a stun. The barrier coming through to dodge some of that damage, and is going to throw the root back. The arrow is going to hit Gimlet, and Darrison will get the rampage with the ultimate, get a double kill onto the Lulu, and that turns that gank entirely around in CEN's favor.
Pele Penguin going pretty deep onto the Mel, who still had that flash, still had the rebuttal to, immune a lot of that damage there, as we're going to get to see this play again. Oh, no. This is the arrow from the Ashe, which denied the ultimate from Lulu here. Tenino Gimlet maybe holding that to try and turn this play here, but boom, gets stunned. And then the Golden Eclipse from Mel picks up the kill, and a second one follows shortly thereafter. So Conduit Esports firmly back in the lead here. Also, this top pick, I thought the Aatrox was going to have a good time in the 1v1, but the Bramble Rush from Ornn has made it very difficult. Yeah, he actually finished the Thorn Mail now. Has made it very difficult for Aztec War Priest to play this lane. And yeah, you know, the Ornn is up 25 CS and had a solo kill along with that assist that just came through recently.
Yeah, and it has the tier that's been stacking for a bit too. It's almost entirely stacked, so we'll be able to finish that soon, if not the Sunfire Cape from that Bammy Cinder first. And both of those will just make it even more painful as Yipsy's going to find Pelly Penguin and is just kind of playing around with him, but is a little nervous. Does see Funny Beaver coming on over. But with him over there, they might be looking. Swevel trying to clear this ward. Does see Pelly Penguin and doesn't want to get jumped on there, so we'll back off and not clear that red ward. But everyone really rotating over to this mid. They really want to get pressure on this. Yipsy goes forward, misses the hook, but hits the wall, and Funny Beaver locks him up. The arrow coming through. It's going to hit Beaver despite the dash, but there's really no follow-up from anybody there. And so Funny Beaver gets away, but the Herald charges forward. And the Dragon going to be the objective again for Conduit. It's already burning down. Pelly Penguin walking on over. They did burn they did burn one ultimate, so that will be down. No Ash Arrow to start this out, but Darrison looking to get more damage. The shield going to come through from Penguin. The Dragon going to go the way of Conduit. And Yipsy looking to maybe see if he can get a hook. Flashes forward and is forcing Beaver's flash.
Nice trade of flashes. I think you're pretty happy with that as Nautilus. You know, the Ahri, when the fewer dashes she has available to her, the better. And yeah, it's so hard for TPO to walk in there because there's always the threat of that Nautilus hook on the turnaround. There's always the threat of the solar snare from Mel, you know, just rooting your team as they're trying to approach through that choke point. And if I've been saying it again and again, TPO needs to take these fights on their terms. It's very difficult if they're, you know, getting hooked, getting Ash ulted to start things off, and are forced to use these tools that they want to use offensively as defense. You know, losing the Ahri ult makes those team fights so hard to play because that's a key part of her kit is being able to reset off of an initial kill. And if she doesn't have that, it's so hard for her to get into the fight and make the consistent damage happen.
Yeah, it's been kind of rough for Beaver. This is not an Ahri game. This is definitely not a fun Ahri game to be playing into right now. Mel is a pretty rough matchup. But yeah, the game is starting to it's stabilized really about a 2K gold lead, 1.5, 2K gold lead for Conduit, and it's kind of just stayed there this whole time despite everything that's been going on. But couldn't be a whole world of difference with these Ornn items starting to come up. You already see that upgrade onto the Thorn Mail, and that just adds more unseen gold value, especially if they manage to get that Ocean Soul. That would be huge for Conduit. Oh, Pantheon coming in. Penguin looking for Darrison. Still getting stunned up, but will manage to get the root down. He's going to ult, but will not pick up the kill onto Funny Beaver, who will manage to get that shut down onto the 5-0, now 5-1 Mel. So that's a good pick for them, but they do lose the first turret. So the boots, actually, I think they already got it with the objectives. So
yeah,
they just got they got everything. They technically won every single feat this game.
CN has won all the feats, but that is a much needed shutdown on the side of TPO. They need to get some gold onto their carries, keep this Mel from being able to extend that lead. And I mean, that's how they need to do it. You know, it's an immobile champion. If you're Pantheon ulting behind her, while Ahri's threatening from the front, she can't throw her snare in both directions. She can't use the rebuttal to be immune to everything. And if Ahri just holds her charm and just does the damage with the rest of her kit, she can easily follow through on the Pantheon engage to get the kill, as we saw happen there. So Darrison does have the flash back up now, going to be able to play a little bit more aggressive, but when that's down, it needs to be very careful, especially playing those side lanes alone.
Yeah, and speaking of playing side lanes alone, Funny Beaver kind of playing this lane alone. We'll get the turret, but is waiting to... Charm is dodged by Swevel. Beaver trying to keep dashing and running away, but gets knocked up. Darrison looking for that damage, but doesn't have quite enough marks to get the ultimate off. So Beaver will get away, was forced to ult through that, and did force Swevel's flash, but will probably lose their turret in the process. However, Pelly Penguin Coming back down. This Pantheon has been very effective so far with the pressure. Teleport coming in from Funny Beaver. That's a sign from Darrison to just back on off. And Atacon might be the goal here. Swevel's in the area. Yipsy as well. Everyone's starting to rotate on down. Pelly Penguin gets the stun, but the hook coming back onto him. The charm going to land onto Swevel, who dashes on in, tries to use the ultimate, but will get nuked. And Yipsy, misses the hook and falls as well. The ultimate from Darrison will not find anything. Ace is here, but is trying to tank against 5. Now Verzia is down here too. 3v5, but a lot of low health bars on the side of TPO. So the Roflcopters just start backing on up. They do not want to contest this, not with a full health Ash, not with a full health Mel, and not certainly with this Ornn here. But 2 kills is still a good thing to get.
Fighting in that choke around the Otacon when it's shredding your resistances is a bad idea. So good recognition of the risk there by TPO. I think staying on that, they probably get hit with the Call of the Forge God into all sorts of follow-up damage from the carries on CEN side. So despite the 2 kills, they're not able to convert it into an objective, but they're still able to hang on and show that they've got teeth in this game. Hyena Blood continuing to get stronger. It's a full item up over Verzia now, 51 CS ahead on the Zeri, and that's got to be something you're scared of if you're Conduit Esports. You need to find a pick onto the Zeri to win a fight now. But here's another engage.
Yeah, Penguin finds the pick on the Swevel, and now here comes Grand Challenge. Crescent Guard's the name of that. Crescent Guard, but he does get out, and now Verzia getting stunned up again. They're really looking for him. Funny Beaver going for, but Pelly will pick up the kill again. Darrison is here now with the teleport on in. Swevel get very low. It's just Yipsy, Ace, and Darrison at full health. And again, picks being found by TPO will allow them to really put CN on the back foot. CN just does not feel like they're respecting the potential power of these picks.
Swevel is back up on the Zinja. Might be able to try to look for a steal, but this dragon is burning down too quickly. That is a nice, safe objective claimed by the side of TPO. Do they feel confident about this Otacon, though? Looks like they are going to start it up, but if Conduit Esports walks in here, TPO might have to back off this objective.
Yeah, Ace is walking forward, being the immense figure that he is. A lot of damage coming through. The Ornn Ram coming through. It's gonna knock up Gimlet, who will just go down. Ace picking up that kill. The ult coming in from the Pantheon, but Aztec Warriors already down. They're looking for Pelly Penguin, and CEN's gonna steal the Atacon, and they may steal this fight too. Funny Beaver going forward looking for Ace. The ult from Darrison picks up 2, a double kill onto Hyena Blood, and Penguin maybe looking for a triple. No, gonna give it over to Verzia, and that is the ace at Atacon for Conduit.
TPO is able to stop the soul stacking from the side of Conduit, but they overplay their hand a little bit going for that Otacon. The team's a little split on their focus there. It feels like some of the team wants to play up into the enemy tri-brush and pick them off while they're going, while they're walking in trying to secure vision, but the rest of the team just wants to hit Otacon. And for those people who played aggressively there, they have to walk through the Otacon the entire time while tanking all these members of CEN, and so that just makes them so squishy. They go down so fast, and it's a very clean fight for Conduit Esports off the back of a little bit of over aggression from TPO, who now that they've lost the Otacon, I think are in a much worse spot than they were before.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. It's still only about 3,000 gold lead, maybe 2,500, but that's still a rough position to find yourself in. And yeah, I think a lot of it also came down to if you watch that, Penguin stops to channel his ult and go in, and by that point he's back in. You've already lost Aatrox without Aztec Warrior there. Like, that's the other component of your front line that you need to really make these plays. I think he could have just walked forward. I don't think the damage from Grand Starfall is really enough to justify that, but
the damage is not the main point of that ability. The main point is you can be anywhere on the map, kind of like that Ashrold that just went wide and mid.
Yeah,
it's gonna go take a nice vacation through the red side base, and who knows where it'll end up.
Yeah, landing a hook onto Penguin. Darrison doing so much damage. He's getting bounce housed around, and Darrison will pick him up to go on a killing spree. The teleport in from Beaver, but it may be too late. A double kill going the way of the Mel. The Orenhorn gonna ram and take out Gimlet, going the way to Verzia. Again, 3 kills for CEN for nothing from the side of TPO except burnt ults, summoners, and a dream. As it's all coming apart. Baron now the call for Conduit. They look to take this pretty quickly. Still, well, actually, honestly, this is a pretty early Baron. 26 minutes into this game.
It's only been alive for a minute. And yeah, with no Ahri ultimate, with no Zeri ultimate, there's no contest going to be able to come through. And it really just feels like whoever's starting these fights is winning them at pretty much every time. Whoever's throwing the first major piece of CC and connecting it onto the enemy is getting the win here, as it's been very back and forth throughout the course of this game. But now with the Otacon, with the Baron, with the 5,000 gold lead, and Dragon Soul potentially available in a minute and a half, I feel like Conduit Esports should have this game firmly in their grasp from here on out. If TPO can manage to find a pick with Pelly Penguin and Funny Beaver, though, that could all change.
Yeah, they're looking for it. That's really been their strength, is finding these picks. But this pick is onto Yipsy, and Yipsy is very tanky. As Penguin getting beat up. The Oran Ram gonna come in, it's gonna knock him up, and Swevel will pick up that kill. Aztec Warrior teleports on in. Swevel keeps going forward. He's polymorphed, but still looking for this fight. Yipsy super low. A double kill going the way of Swevel. Big hit from Funny Beaver though with that Q, but will it matter? It's not looking like it. Ace picks up and goes on a killing spree. Dare's looking for Darrison, going unstoppable on to the Ahri. It gets another double kill onto Zeri, but will be shut down and trade his life. So 2 for Ace in favor of Conduit. They're going to get that inner turret. They're going to get the inhibitor mid. I don't know if they go for the game. There's only 10 seconds left on Penguin and Gimlet, and there's only 3 of them, and they are fairly low. So they are, yeah, they're just going to back on off. But with the inhibitor down, with all that gold in their pocket and dragging up in 20 seconds, this is looking like it's Conduit's game to lose at this point.
Soul should be theirs. They were able to secure a lot of pressure on the map with the Baron, with the team fight win off the back of, I said whoever was starting the fight was winning it, but this time TPO starts the fight onto Yipsy, and it does not go their way at all. The Ace coming through there, nice little bit of fighting back by Hyena Blood, and actually Pelly Penguin just ults into the pit, maybe looking for a steal, but is now in danger.
Yeah, they found him, and now Swevel looking to engage. Penguin flashes over the wall. So ult down, flash down. No real way to get into this unless he goes through the absolute unit that is Yipsy, and Yipsy is not letting him go through. Darrison here to back him up. Ace also here. There's the Soul. Ocean Soul goes the way of Conduit. The jungle camps are probably going to go that way too on this red-blue side. Hook, lands onto Funny Beaver, forced to go golden in the middle of the ultimate, so is going to try to dash on out. Swevel, though, going forward, gets the knockup, but there are 3 people here. Uses the Crescent Guard to keep on running. Darrison picks off Penguin on the side. Hyena jumps the wall, but now is in the middle of everyone. A double kill goes the way of Darrison, and now Beaver is the target. Doesn't have an ult. A triple kill going the way of Darrison. Can he make it a quadra? No. Gimlet's running for the hills, and there's gonna go down the inhibitor turret on the bot side, and with the minion wave in mid already on the Nexus turrets, this could just be the game. It's just Aatrox and Lulu versus the world. Aatrox goes into the world ender, but the Bram comes through. Swevel picks up Aztec Priest. Gimlet trying to do Lulu things to stop it, but Lulu ain't got nothing here, and game number 1's gonna go the way of Conduit.
Back and forth game for a while there, but Conduit Esports closed things out quite cleanly. It's, I think Pelly Penguin may be getting a little antsy. They're trying desperately to stop the Soul from going over, but unable to do so, as there's so many threats on the side of Conduit Esports Nirvana, who, pick up that game number 1 win. I think Darrison doing a lot of work here, but really the whole team having pretty solid performances all around. Ace, especially on that orange, 3-0 and 10. Deathless, just a rock up there in the top lane, unmovable, doing his job and just providing that gold value. Those the enhanced items along with those enhanced boots give you a lot of free stats going into the late game that make you just that much harder to deal with.
you see that damage from Darrison for this game? Just absolutely crazy amounts of damage, just in such a short game. 29 minutes, just shy of 30 minutes. Looking very solid. The damage turrets, of course, Verzia as the AD carry, always getting so much there. But the team looked very, very good. This is exciting. It's good to see. It's good to see the improvement coming out of them. But now, that's just one game. These picks aren't there anymore. What else do you have? And on the other side, for Roflcopter, you saw those moments that looked like they had it. They were coming back into it with those ganks, but getting a little overconfident, not quite having the composition, I think, to take the fight, and kind of not fully positioned well. I think we saw a lot of time Funny Beaver just really up on that front line, or Aztec Warrior coming in really late to a fight. So I feel like they just had a little bit of coordination issues, and I've got to see that step up if they want to bring this back. They've got to win the next two to take this series, and every series counts here in the Conquerors League. Your match score and everything. So you want to get the wins that you can, even if you don't win the whole series. You want a game at least to take, so that you have that game record going your way if for tiebreakers come the end of the season. So I want to see. What do you got for me, Roflcopter? What do you have? How are you going to dig deeper?
They showed moments of brilliance when they were coordinated. When Funny Beaver and Pele Penguin were working together, they were winning fights pretty consistently, and we saw a lot of great DPS output by Hyena Blood as well when he was given that space to work with. But a lot of these fights, it was someone getting caught early on the side of TPO, and with without that front line available, Hyena Blood is dealing damage, but not enough to fight off the entirety of Conduit Esports Nirvana. For Aztec War Priest, I maybe would have wanted to see like a slightly harder counter matchup up there, because I was just looking at the win rate data, because from how things went, I was like, is Ace just a god gamer, or is this Aatrox matchup not as good as I thought? And it turns out it's actually pretty even. It's when you're saving the R5 for top, I feel like you usually want to give them something that is really going to give you the momentum up there, and perhaps TPO thought that the Aatrox would be able to do it, but in this game it didn't quite look like it. So maybe we'll see if they stick with the red side and pull out another counter pick for top lane, or maybe in the mid lane, or if they swap sides and try to take away one of those power picks.
Yeah, unfortunately, Aztec Warrior Priest is not the shy on the Aatrox, but hopefully he doesn't try to imitate what we saw from the shy Tuesday morning Worlds. So I want to see what else he's got. I want to see what this Warrior Priest can bring to the table, and we'll find out in our second draft, which will be coming up right after this short break. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Conquerors League. It's game number 2. We've got Conduit versus Roflcopter, and Conduit, a solid first game. Looked a little shaky, a little bit in the middle, but they closed it out nice and clean, and got a nice win to take this. And they're looking one game away from really cementing a solid win for themselves this week. And on the other side, Roflcopter, kind of a little shaky there. They had that nice little mid-game comeback, but seemed a little bit disorganized in their calls a little bit, which direction they wanted to go. And we're hoping to see, a little bit of adjustment in this next game.
Hoping to see some adjustment. Now that I'm looking at these lineups again, I'm thinking, what if this is just a name length difference? I mean, when you're communicating in game, you need to be efficient with what you're saying. And TPO's team, they're all 2 words or more. I mean, if you're saying the full name, that could be wasting seconds of decision time. Meanwhile, Conduit Esports, nice, clean, short syllables. So I'm thinking, maybe that's the difference on the rift there. But in all seriousness, it was we saw a lot of good looks out of TPO. Just not quite able to hold on in the end. So I'm curious to see how they switch things up. I guess we'll see when we get into draft what side each team has taken, because last time TPO held onto red side for the counter pick, and I think the counter pick maybe didn't work out as great as they would have hoped, but they are gonna hang on to the counter pick, and we'll see how they use it this time around. Also going to see if any of these bans are switched up in the first phase here. So far, we're seeing that Aurora kept over. Conduit does not want Funny Beaver to have that. Trundle, I think that was also in game number 1. He just makes it hard to play tanks. You can sap the resist, sap the health. So yeah, I think as is often the case with Fearless Draft, we're seeing the same bans come through. No reaction bans because they're gone. And with that, they're TPO continuing to keep the Syndra off the table. It's another pick that Derzen is pretty well known for. And Yone banned this time around. Was that there before? I don't know if that was there before.
I don't quite remember. I want to say I saw Yone ban. I don't remember the way though. Was that there last time?
That's also new from what I remember. But I mean, Hui also a relatively safe pick, again, has his bad matchups, but if you don't play those bad matchups, it can be pretty hard to punish him. The Jarvan was banned last game, but this time it's going to be picked up by Conduit Esports on the blue side. And maybe that's what TPO were hoping for, because like you mentioned earlier, I'm hearing 0-6 at Worlds, and there's the counter pick with the Poppy that might make it even harder for Swevel to play this Jarvan pick.
Yeah, the Jarvan's been kind of a bait lately. I feel like the problem is that the thing, like, while he has good engage, there's just a lot of tools to allow you to kind of disengage from it, and the things that are strong in the meta tend to have ways to deal with him a lot more mobility. The Senna gonna come through here to play into the Sivir, so 2 different styles, but both very late game hybrid carries. Senna, when you get to that 200 stacks or more, you start becoming a little bit of a problem. Zig's gonna also be picked up there for Derzen in the mid lane, so good siege potential, a lot of range, a lot of ability to, in case of an emergency, just keep the waves back. The Rakan gonna come in here too, looking to take advantage of Senna's lack of mobility in that bottom lane.
I will say, Fursha does also play Ziggs, so there's a slight chance that it's Senna support with Ziggs bot lane. That is a flex option that's available to Conduit Esports. Not sure if they would do that. I don't think those champions have like intrinsic synergy, other than the fact that they can kind of play like poke, try to win the war of attrition. But it is a lane that would be a little vulnerable to the engage coming through from Rakan. TPO seems to think that the Senna is going to be in the AD carry role and the Ziggs is mid though, because they're banning out supports, and Conduit Esports is banning away at some of these top lane, mid lane picks away from TPO.
Those picks are gonna go away again. Support one side, top the other. So they don't believe this is Senna support. They believe that it's gonna be Senna AD carry, and there goes the Sylas pick. That's going to be good. Some good ultimates to steal the Cataclysm, the Senna ult, The bomb from the Ziggs, the Leona ult
Solar
right
flare.
there. Ooh, solar flare. That's some good ults. This is a good Silas pickup for Funny Beaver.
Unless they end up sending it to the jungle in the Poppy top or something, because those are also flex picks. I mean, I'd assume they're just keeping the Poppy in the jungle and the Silas mid, but Silas can get bullied out by Ziggs. It's a match where if he's landing his E's, the abscond abduct, Silas is pretty happy he can zone Ziggs off the wave and make it hard for him to CS. But if he's the one getting poked out, if he can't make the first move, it can be difficult to play. But it is going to be the Shen and the Cassante rounding out both of these drafts. So TPO looking to protect their carries, maybe have the Shen dive in with one of those other highly mobile champions they have on the team. And Conduit Esports going to have, a little more dueling power with the Cassante, trying to isolate someone from the rest of their team and make them an easy pickup.
This comp, I'm thinking what like on this comp, I still like CN's comp. Well, Silas is good. Shen is also a very solid pick. Like they have, actually the more I look at it, I actually think both of these are good. I don't know which comp I think is better.
They're both very solid comps in my eyes. I like that TPO has a lot of tools to protect Sivir. To me, that's like if Sivir can get accelerated and they're able, and Poppy, Rakan, Shen are all doing their jobs, I think she's going to kind of be able to run over these fights, because the steadfast presence from Poppy gets a lot of value into Cassante, Jarvan, and Leona. And Silas is still a dive threat for Conduit Esports backline. On the other hand, if Conduit Esports takes the lead, they have a lot of range and a lot of siege power with the mid and the bot lane pick, and they really just will then need their tanks to be bodies in front of those champions, let them slowly do their thing. I mean they have snap engage, but they can also play kind of like a long range CG style. So I think there is a little more versatility on the side of Conduit Esports' draft, and a little bit more reliable engage options, but TPO has great ways to shut those options down. So it's hard for me to lean super hard either way in this draft. I think it's going to depend on the gameplay, the especially like I think the pre-6 where these junglers are pathing, if they're able to get any early ganks off, if either bot lane is able to be accelerated, because like Sivir's at a pretty significant range deficit, so she might have a tough time with that in the early game. But once things go a bit later, she's just going to be able to freely clear out waves and move around the map with her support.
Yeah, well, who do you all in the audience think's gonna win? Vote in the poll right now. We always have our wonderful channel points predictions. We got 6.1K right now on CEN, but no one's voted yet for the side of Roflcopter. Show Roflcopter some love. Get in there, get some votes in. So we're getting underway into the Rift game number 2, and it's gonna be a pretty standard start for both these teams. So Swivel gets the first poke of the game.
The flag is down, and he's just going to walk in and drop a word on the enemy red buff. Garrison rocking the first strike on the Ziggs here. Interesting pickup. I mean, he has a big range advantage. He's going to be able to proc that consistently, but me personally, I like to go Comet on Ziggs. I think it just does more damage than first strike does. So I'm curious to see if it's hard for him to get through this front line later, he might be regretting that decision. But if he's able to hit his item spikes and push down towers, push his advantage that way, he'll be pretty happy.
I'd agree. I'm not a big fan of first strike. I've tried using it, and I get like it's a little bit of extra gold and damage, but I just feel like there's just better options in most situations that you could take. Like unless you're someone who just really needs every ounce of gold because you need 6 items to get your poke, but not too many champions like that. Maybe I do it on a Gangplank because it's Gangplank. He can build anything really. But the game is just kind of going into a regular pattern bot lane. Gimlet kind of waiting, maybe looking for a potential to jump on in, but is only level 1, and we got to watch for those stacks for Senna. Those can really escalate very quickly on an AD Senna. She'll trade quite a bit, and we'll definitely have more gold to help her win those trades too.
Yeah, don't want to be giving over those stacks for free. If you're giving over a stack, you want to make sure you're getting some CS, getting some good damage back on her, because it's inevitable she'll get a few of them, either through farming, but also just through getting those Q autos. But you don't want to just give them over for free. And I like that TPO has, in a sense, built their composition around Hyena Blood this game. I think Hyena Blood was looking pretty strong on the Zeri in the last game, and if he's able to put out a similar performance this game with a team that's, you know, a little more built to support him in that, I think it's gonna be a good look for him. You know, good for the stats in this AD carry role as bot lane's continuing to trade.
Yeah, getting a lot of soul stacks here for Vezia. The engage coming in from Yipsy onto Hyena Blood, and Hyena Blood already at half health. But Verzia and Yipsy are taking a lot of damage back. The heal and souls coming through. Ooh, Verzia actually down to just a third of their health.
But the Sivir expending a lot of her mana pool to do that. Those Boomerang Blades are costly in the early game. They do a lot of damage if they land, you know, without the minion wave tanking them, as we saw right there. But yeah, you got to manage the mana on Sivir, or else you're going to be a lot less threatening in these fights.
And on the top side, things still going pretty even. I don't think we'll see a lot of too much aggression up here, or really any kills. They're both pretty tanky and pretty safe. But I'm curious, the Shen ran Doran's Blade instead of Doran's Shield, so that would indicate to me once he's looking to kind of trade more.
I'd agree. Yeah, maybe take, you know, more extended trades instead of short trades. As Pele Penguin going in.
Yes, Swevel gets found out, and first blood gonna go the way of Funny Beaver.
TPO off to a much better start already. Last game, they gave over 3 kills before, you know, they even found one of their own. This time around, it's first blood onto TPO, and it's off a nice creative play from Pele Penguin. He gets the first crab bot side, knows that Swevel wants to contest the top side one because he's down smite. Would hold that thought.
Yeah, Penguin looking to maybe get this in here. Goes the flash forward, trying to get the Q damage, but isn't quite enough, and takes a big chunk there.
Yeah, so okay, we're gonna get to see the replay here. So yeah, Pele Penguin got the first crab. It runs up towards the top, makes Jarvan think that, you know, it's gonna be a crab fight he can win because he has a smite, but instead Pele Penguin just waiting in the bush, and really smart play from Funny Beaver to follow up on this.
Yeah, I felt that, honestly, once we saw it from their vision, it almost felt obvious, because, like, Silas is definitely hanging out up in that direction and is kind of, like, wobbling back and forth as Jarvan decides if he wants to go over there. That to me, would have indicated something is sussy, especially, you know, with the Poppy. Like, you know something's up, but
Yeah.
still, it only cost them 1 death, and it's the only kill on the game right now, so not the worst spot to be in, but it's going to still be rough.
actually had flash there also. Probably could have gotten out using that summoner spell. There, you know, most of the burst on the side of TPO had already been expended. So, I wonder why he chose to hold that. Maybe thought he was just dead. You know, but in any case, Aztec War Priest taking the trade and actually winning it pretty nicely. Oh, never mind.
No, I don't think he is going to, but Ace is going to take those turret shots. Oh, Ace! Woohoo, buddy! Buddy, I thought he had this. Oh, he gets the flash forward for the kill, and he lives.
Yeah, looked good at the start there, but once the Twilight Shroud, I think, no, that's a Kali's ability. Once the Shen W, the Spirit's Refuge, it goes down, Ace is able to turn the fight around, go under the turret, and find the kill with the flash Q. And Aztec War Priest also just fighting in a really stacked minion wave here. Quite risky, yeah. See the trade with the grasp. Looks good at first, but then you're on cooldown.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I thought Ace was going to take another turret shot right there for a moment. And I honestly thought Aztec Warrior was going to flash forward, but Ace with the flash, and somehow that turret shot just not killing. I really thought he was low enough that even a single turret. Oh, he leveled up, I'm hearing. I honestly missed that in the replay. So smart timing on the XP and the levels right there. So good from Ace. He did have to stay. He did get back. He's fine, but he's definitely kind of probably wishing he could have kept that teleport. Harrison and now finding Funny Beaver, gonna blast him back, but already used the explosive. Now Penguin gonna find Swevel. Verzia is here, and Funny Beaver already at the half health mark, gonna have to grab those fruit. Darrison just trying to prevent them from getting this little. Oh wait, did he get it? Who got that? I can't tell.
Penguin got it.
It does go the way of Penguin, and it might be a little bit more for them. Pele Penguin looking for Swevel, the ult from The stolen ult from Silas is going to do quite a bit of damage there, but Darrison returns it in kind. And Yipsy looking, just barely missing onto Penguin. Another stun missing from Verzia. And now they're just trying to get some souls off of them. Can we get a soul check real quick on the Senna? I want to know where the Senna's stacking at right now. It's got to, we're going to a quick check on the Senna.
Pelly Penguin. Ooh,
there we go. 18 stacks. Okay, so 2 more souls and we'll be at the first upgrade point.
Yeah, not a ton of souls so far, but I mean there hasn't been a lot of fighting. No Drake taken by either of these teams yet for Senna to get those bonus souls off of. So yeah, it's not going to be a super accelerated Senna that we see here. And yeah, Pelly Penguin is now down the ult. Swevel should be hitting level 6 in just a camp or two here. There it is. He just ticked over, and so I might allow him to contest one of these objectives, the Grubs or the Dragon, whichever his team chooses to fight. But if they wait too long, that Poppy ult will be back up, and that's a very powerful tool for contesting those objectives. You can just throw the enemy jungler out of there and guarantee yourself a smite. So yeah, we'll see if these teams fight over the first Dragon as the junglers make their way down here.
Yeah. And something I want to note is that, Senna's souls are low. It kind of hits like an acceleration point. So as soon as you hit 20, you accelerate your soul stacking usually, because the enhanced range means you can just poke more and you can get those souls. Like you can just walk up and trade with Sivir right now, and she's not going to, unless she throws that Q, she's not going to be able to do much about it. So you can see right there, just continuing to trade it back and pick up more souls. So this is the point we'll start seeing accelerate. And especially when you hit 40, that's the range point when you're just, I think will completely outrange Sivir. So that should be more souls in the pocket. Another one looking there for Hyena Blood, off Hyena Blood. And the Grub's going to go the way of C, and Dragon going to just fall to Pelly Penguin and the Roflcopters as they get that. Yipsy does see Pelly, so no gank coming down on the bottom side. But yeah, 1 for 1 on the objectives, 1 for 1 on the kills. No feats yet, so this is a lot slower than the last game.
Slower pace of the game here, but I think Conduit Esports are going to be pretty happy with that. Ooh, Hyena Blood. Nice spell shield on the E from Yipsy. But yeah, I think Conduit Esports are going to be pretty happy with the Grub for Dragon trade. Ziggs loves eating turret platings all day, trying to use that satchel charge to knock down those turrets early on in the game. As I think can't quite see down there. Has he already gotten some platings mid? I can't tell if that's a 3 or a 5, but in any case, when he gets free time with the turrets, he's going to delete those now.
Yeah, speaking of free time, they're looking to get some free time onto Gimlet, who is going to get out thanks to the ult from Hyena Blood and Hyena Blood's flash getting them out. Penguin is down as well, looking to see if maybe he can counter yank, but Swivel will walk away. And now, though, that is a summoner and a big ult down in the bottom lane for Roflcopter. Leona's is down, but that thing comes up so fast.
Yeah, and if she can find and engage with her E, with her Q, there's not as many tools. Oh, wait.
Sorry, I thought Pelly Penguin was about to gank in the mid lane, but Darrison sniffed it out. So Pelly coming back down to the bottom side. Swevel is here. I don't know if they see him right there. They may have. Here comes Pelly Penguin. Erzia and Yipsy do spot him. Swevel is still around, and I think they're just like looking to see if they can get in. There's the ultimate, the quickening coming through as well, but here's the engage from the Jarvan. Darrison comes on through too. There is the ultimate from the Senna. They're going to stun up Pelly Penguin. Just keep blasting him into the wall. The ult from the Shen. Will it be enough? There's now 5 members of TPO down here. They're trying to get onto Yipsy. Swevel looking low. Everyone really looking low here, but because of the Shen ult down here, he does have teleport. He could go back top, but this is going to give Ace a lot of time on that top turret to get some of these plates.
And those Grubs are going to be helping this Cassante out a lot as he gets 2 platings down now and is going to get to crash another wave, get himself a nice reset. He's up 1,000 gold in the 1v1 here. That solo kill. Oh, wait. Aztec War Priest.
Yeah, Aztec War Priest got that back, so he does have the full health, and now Ace trying to just get on out of here, but is dueling him very well, goes full ultimate, going just ballistic here, and is going to flash to get away. Worth it, I think, just to escape. Aztec War looking if he maybe wants to do a flash E, and he might still. He is looking for it. He's thinking about it, and he doesn't do it. Okay.
Doesn't punish or stop the back from Ace. Might have wanted to do that. Keep him there on low health. Try to set a gank up from Pelly Penguin, who's
Yeah, is in the area, looking around, but here comes Swevel. Aztec Warrior may get hit here by the flag and drag if this Q lands from Ace. They're looking for it. Swevel going on in, no, just going to use the normal Q and forcing the flash either way. The stun going to land onto Ace from Penguin, but Aztec Warrior so low, he doesn't have the ult, he doesn't have the flash. He doesn't have a lot of tools right now to be really effective, especially with that low a health bar. So this could be a bad spot, but Hyena Blood and Gimlet are on the way up. They're getting some vision. They're kind of hanging out. Swevel, though, coming in from behind. The flash for the Solar Flare lands. The stun, too. Hyena Blood trying to run. Gimlet trying to buy some space. Hyena Blood going to drop the barrier. Will he get out? He will, but just barely. And that's going to be some trade there. Swevels go down. And he ults in on the Pelly Penguin. The Cataclysm going to lock him in that bush. They have the vision, and Ace is going to pick up that kill. Gimlet tries to save him, but they're not going to get anything. They're so low, but no one wants to dive between two turrets, so they're going to back off. And Conduit continuing to find some good advantages in this game. Oh, Hyena Blood, the ult. Oh, Senna with a nice 1v1 onto the Sivir. I don't know how Jarvan got the assist, but you know what? You take those. And Funny Beaver actually might try to find Darrison here. Looking for the E, is going to land that, so at least a trade back for the Roflcopters.
TPO do get one back, but up on the top side, it's all Conduit Esports bullying TPO off the play. You know, they go for a pretty deep fight onto Ace, on this Cassandra, and just get chased off by him and Swevel. It was a good hold on the steadfast presence from Pelly Penguin to make sure that Jarvan can never dash in there, but this Shen was just chunked out so low that Conduit Esports is able to take control of that topside jungle, make a play in mid lane, and yeah, they've got themselves a nice almost 3,000 gold lead here, even though they're only up 1 kill. The Platings in particular, I think, are going to be funding a lot of that, and they've got some solid CS leads as well. Also, the static Shiv on Senna doing a lot of work to get that kill on Hyena Blood. She had the power spike. Sivir was still on those components for the Yuntal Wild arrows. So, yeah, just giving a lot of confidence to play around with that power spike there.
Yeah, and now up 3,000 gold almost. Conduit has found themselves again in a nice lead, and they're looking very solid here. In the mid lane, though, we're looking, Pelly Penguin looking for Darius and gets the ult off, the quickening coming through too. Oh, Yipsy missed the stun, so he's not going to be able to get on in there, and Hyena Blood will pick that kill up. But it did take 3 ultimates for them to do that. And now Yipsy going forward, looking for Hyena Blood. No one else is here but Verzia. Swevel coming in. He's going to get the Cataclysm onto Gimlet. They're going to try to land the root too. And he roots up his AD carry. He will fall. Swevel going to pick up that kill. Now Pelly Penguin on the run. Funny Beaver is here looking for the Senna. Will land the stun. Barrier coming through. Trying to get that root up. Ooh. Cataclysm coming in. Zenith Blade trying to keep the Senna alive. He's trying to body block, but Funny Beaver will shut him down on the back there. Hyena Blood went down. A double kill going the way of Funny Beaver. Ace is on the way. They're going to knock up Aztec Warrior, who did ult on in. Darrison now looking to pick up some damage here. Pelly Penguin trying to save his top laner, but it's not going to be enough. And ooh, the bomb from downtown is going to force Funny Beaver to continue backing up. But 3-4-2 in favor of Conduit. They get the turret. They're going to get the dragon, their first of the game, and they're sitting in a mighty fine spot right now.
TPO showing some nice aggression once again, but you know, it's punished nicely by Conduit, who just, I think, has the better reset timers there. They're able to show up, defend themselves, and yeah, it takes a long time for those kills to come through from TPO, which means they kind of overcommit to the play. They are going to try to get the Rift Herald back here, but Conduit might have a timer to stop this. No, it looks like Swevel is just going to be doing his own camps. They're going to be giving over this Rift Herald, but they're not in a rush to get these objectives now. They've already got themselves defeats. If they lose a tower, it won't be the first tower. And if they lose Rift Herald, well,
Poppy. Yeah, they might try to stop him here. Pelly Penguin trying to secure this before they all get in. Will manage to grab it, but at what cost? Yipsy locking him in. Pelly Penguin trying to run away, trying to get to the wall to flash over, but will get taken out. A double kill for Yipsy, of all people in that situation. The Leona just wants blood and has well earned it.
Yipsy has been instrumental to Conduit Esports getting these early leads. I think last game was also like 2-0-2 on Nautilus, 2-1-2 on the Leona this game. I say let the supports have the kills. They deserve it because Aztec War Priest is just tanking up the wave here. Able to do so pretty safely for a bit, but
and now they're looking for Aztec Warrior, and he goes down. I was like, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna make an escape play here? Is he gonna dash or flat? No, he just kind of stood there, just took it.
Yeah, he was kind of just standing there. I wasn't sure if he wanted the wave, if he had some grand plan to escape once the Cataclysm came through, but it's another kill, and this Shen is.
Oh. Yeah, the Penguin going in for Verzia, who's forced to flash and run away. The ult coming through to give him the shield to keep him alive. He will get shut down, but Darrison is here. They're going to take out Hyena Blood, and now Gimlet running too. Penguin goes back on in. I don't know if that's what you wanted. The knock-up misses from him. Pelly Penguin going to flash to run away. And everyone's just trying to calm down for a moment as Aztec War Priest on the way back. I feel like Verzia should have just turned and taken those 3 souls in the first place. They were just sitting there.
Yeah, get yourself some of that permanent power instead of trying to run away from the inevitable bull. But even with the opening pick, it's still a trade of 80 carries in the topside jungle there. And Conduit Esports are now sitting at almost a 5,000 gold lead. And everyone on their team is getting in on the action. It is a scrappy game across the board. We're at 18 minutes in, and we've got 16 kills. It's yeah, I mean, TPO is really going to need Hyena Blood to come online after this Infinity Edge is completed, because Verja already has one, and if Sivir's not being protected in these fights, I think they're really hard to play for TPO, and unfortunately, she's been one of the first targets to go down during the previous few fights we've seen. So the team composition that I think, the identity of that composition that TPO had wanted in draft, maybe not being executed exactly how they'd wanted. And we also see, once again, they keep the 5th pick as a counter pick for top, but they draft a matchup that is not winning in isolation. Yes, it helps protect the Sivir, but if you wanted to do that, you could have just done that, earlier in the draft. And I mean, it's not a terrible matchup, but I don't think it's not a free win. And I think when you have that, Verja might be caught out here.
Verja looking to get out of there with the untargetableness, the real power of Senna's Ease, just to make it so people can't get on top of you. But Yipsy maybe found here. The ultimate stolen by Funny Beaver will land. Can Verzia get out? Does get the blast cone on out, and now the engage from Swevel. They do turn it back around. Oh, first kill goes to Yipsy. The engage now coming through. Funny Beaver looking for Verzia. Probably going to find him here. The barrier going to call. There is the solar flare. They're just locking up this set, and Verzia just lives through that whole thing somehow. 2 kills now gone the way of CEN. They haven't lost anybody yet. Gimlet on the run at low health. Ace, Swevel, they're looking for this engage. There's the Sentinel. Gimlet goes down, and now this could just be another couple kills going here. They're going to push him off, and now they're looking for Otacon.
Things go from bad to worse for TPO as they, Hyena Blood once again finds himself the first member going down in the fight, positioning very aggressively against a team that has a lot of dive. And when that Sivir's down, there's not a lot of consistent DPS. Funny Beaver was 4-0 on the Silas, as might try to get Ace here.
Yeah, Ace might be a goner, but is ulting back, looking for Aztec Warrior. He just wants a kill, and he actually might be able to take 2 of them, but I don't know if he can take 3. Funny Beaver on the way, looking to maybe try to pick this kill up, but it is going to go the way of Aztec Warrior. So he gets his first kill of the game. It only took flash. That's all it took there, but that's okay. They got the flash out of Ace as well. And yeah, it is still, though, a deep hole for the members of TPO. Are down 6 kills and 5,000 gold, almost at the 6,000 gold mark. It's almost 1,000 per kill. It's a rough spot to find herself. And it might be a bit more here if Yipsy manages to find Penguin, but he does see Gimlet. They don't know where everyone else is, so they're going to start backing up. They only know where Silas is. They see Hyena Blood off there on the side, cleared those minions originally. And now Penguin going on to Swevel. Yipsy is here. Verzia looking. There's the boomerang blades, but Verzia's going to heal that up. And now Funny Beaver roaming on up too. 5 people with the Herald. They want to at least try to get this mid turret, start getting a little bit of gold into their pocket and set up for this dragon. But that's more souls in Senna's pocket. They're not going to get this turret. And now This fight could go on. Yipsy goes on in onto Penguin, and Ace and Swevel just trying to buy some space. Solar Flare stolen by Funny Beaver is not going to hit really anything. Now everyone's just kind of jockeying around. Aztec Warrior getting traded up. Everyone just juking. They're looking for Funny Beaver. He's onto Darrison, but now huge Solar Flare. Ace and Swevel just going crazy in the backline. Hyena Blood's going to fall. Aztec Warrior soon, as does Funny Beaver, as does Gimlet, as does Penguin. And Ace for Conduit. A double kill for Verzia. And what a clean fight.
It took a while to start here, you know, so many health bars just remaining full here, but as soon as the engage comes through, the dominoes just fall. Look at Hyena Blood here just getting engaged on by Ace, and when the follow-up damage comes through, there is no living for that Sivir.
Yeah, and the craziest part, not a single one of their carries outside of that Sentinel and maybe a couple bomb. Like after a certain point, they weren't in the fight. So it was a 3v4. It was the support, the jungle, and the top versus 4 members of TPOR, and they just destroy them. Funny Beaver distracted 2 people, and that wasn't enough for the team to win. That is insane.
I mean, Cassante is just a tank, assassin, mage, fighter, bruiser, brawler, whatever. He can do it all. As yeah, when he hits that Pathmaker, he does a ton of damage and locks down the enemy team. So the gold lead at 10,000 now in Conduit Esports' favor. This is going to be a really tough spot to come back from for TPO. They're also down the Otacon, which gives a ton of additional, hidden value with that passive and all of the XP and adaptive force that those petals give. So it's really probably closer to, maybe 12 or 13,000, but games with leads like this have been thrown before, but maybe not when you have the infinitely scaling Senna as a win condition that's already so accelerated, almost on her 3rd item now. And, with the anti-heal going to be able to make Funny Beaver and Aztec War Priest's job even harder. And it has just so many bodies in front of her. I mean, we saw in one of those previous fights, TPO was really trying to get the pick onto Verzia, but once the Avengers assemble, once Cassante and Leona just start locking people down, hold that thought.
Oh, Gimlet getting caught up there, rooted up, and it's locked up, forced to flash W away and heal just to stay alive, and still almost died. But that's going to be down there. Only costing Ignite for that, so I'd say it's worth for this. Yeah, 69 health left. Nice for Huracan, according to production. And Hyena Blood, Verzi's gonna run him down. The solo kill as he goes on a rampage on the Senna. Senna's online. This is, oh no.
Hyena Blood had been playing with a lot of aggression, but at this point, Senna can just walk up and do whatever she wants. She outranges the Sivir. She can slow the Sivir. There's not a lot of answers for Hyena Blood, unless he's able to do AoE through Conduit Esports' front line. But I think Verzia might have him outclassed even on that front with all these items he's got at this point. But
and he's got a better heal too.
Yeah.
At least his heal can heal everyone else.
Of a steal from Penguin, but actually, see him turning off the Baron.
Yeah, they're looking for Aztec Warrior. Now they're looking for Penguin, who has to just bolt. The Senna damage is absurd. Has the armor pen, has the anti-heal, so there's not a lot that the members of TPOR can do in the range. As Swevel goes on in with the flag and drag, they're going to lock up Aztec Priest. Haven't started the attack really on him yet. There goes the Cataclysm, the quickening coming through. They're hoping they can maybe get something out of this, but Verzia goes unstoppable, takes out the Shen. It's a double kill to take out the Poppy, looking for a triple kill. Can he get the Quadra? He gets it, and now it's just Funny Beaver that stands between him and a pentakill. They do shut down Swevel. Funny Beaver stepping up. Could this be the moment? Am I going to see a Senna Penta? No. Funny Beaver, you coward, go. Give him the Penta. I'm just kidding.
Come on, Funny Beaver, save the game. It's your hero moment.
Yeah, you got to have the hero moment here. There goes the Ziggs ult trying to clear the wave. It doesn't clear the whole thing, and now they're looking for Funny Beaver. They're going to root him up. Will this be in time to get the... oh, no, they stopped hitting him. No, you got to finish him off, Verzia. There you goes the ace. It's the delayed Penta. Unfortunately, it wasn't in time before the timer went out with that. And now, though, they may have stepped too forward. Verzia gets shut down. They're trying to stop them, but Conduit will not let them back, and they take the series 2-0.
Conduit Esports with the 2-0. Proving that the maybe predicted downward trend that we saw in that content piece, not really living up to its expectations. They dominated this series from start to finish with only a few little blips in game number 1. And so I think great showings out of all of them. Maybe they just locked in this week after a previous loss. They have a real moment where they realize what they need to work on, and in this game, Verja looking huge on the Senna. That is one of the biggest carry performances out of a Senna I've seen. A lot of times they're just buffing up their front line, making the front line unkillable and letting them do their thing. And there was some of that in this game, but we saw there at the end Senna flashing into the enemy's base to finish off some of those kills. Just playing with full confidence, having the team at his back. I'm impressed with that showing there.
Yeah, and while we can't have all the stats, I can see at least the damage chart there. Okay, there we go. We got it from our second point of view cam. Thank you so much, production. So let's look at that look at that Senna. Look at the Senna damage.
That's not usually something that you get to see is a Senna with that much damage. It takes a while for her to come online, but she was rapidly accelerated to stardom this game. Really taking over. I mean, everyone on the side of Conduit Esports did their job this game. I think Ziggs and Cassante getting nice edges in their lane. I mean, maybe Ziggs running into some struggles in the 1v1 with the Silas. We did see some nice performances out of Funny Beaver, but with all the tools that Conduit Esports had at their disposal, a Silas is not enough to win you the game. And I mean, really for me, I think it's just like the game plan getting out of hand very quickly from the side of TPO. I think this game should have been, the Sivir show for them. And unfortunately, she was never able to get to that point where, in a lot of these fights, the Shen ult wasn't even coming down onto Sivir. I mean, I guess you have the option of using it on like a Silas or someone else who's diving in, but we didn't get to see that come through. I think the way it was drafted up.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate, but it happens. Sometimes things just go a little awry. In this case, it was just Senna just managing to play safe enough until the stack. Like I said, stack acceleration. Once you hit 20, it just accelerates like that. Just a snap, boom, shooting forward. The stacks multiplying, just getting really out of control really fast. So, especially because people just don't respect that increasing range and just allow her, like we saw, just to keep poking at them and trading. If you trade with Senna and you take even health, you lose the trade because she gets a soul. She's stacking. So they played that really well on the side of Conduit. And, Roflcopter, it's still early in the season. They still were looking strong and, a little bit of shakiness. It's nothing to worry too much about. You just got to, just work a little bit on cleaning up a couple things. We saw the potential there. We saw when Penguin and Beaver were looking good. We saw Hyena Blood have a good time, a little bit of a better time in the last game. Just, a little bit more coordination, a little bit more willingness to pull the trigger on some of these plays, because I felt like there was a couple times where we watched them seem to kind of wobble on whether or not they really wanted to take what the situation as it was. I think, if you work a little bit on that, this could be a very scary team.
I think that mid jungle, as you mentioned, like when they're working together, that throughout both of these games, those were the moments when TPO was looking the best. I think they have a lot of potential there, and we didn't get to see it come to fruition in these games, but the pieces are absolutely there for them. And I mean, on the side of Conduit Esports, they have a lot of pieces. I think we've been seeing a lot of early kills and roaming around the map from Yipsy, who I think has been crucial to their early game. We've been seeing Darrison, put out massive damage on these mages. Ace getting solid leads in the solo lane up top as well, and then the Senna show in bot and Swevel getting good control over the objectives in the majority of these games as well. So I think that from what I saw today, there's the Conduit Esports really has the pieces in place, while TPO is going to maybe have to work a little bit extra to get themselves to that level, but they've got the pieces too, I think.
Yeah, and I think like we said at the beginning of this was a needed to be a bounce back week for Conduit. They looked a little shaky, looked a little rough. A lot of people had them kind of in the bottom of the standings. So getting a win like this, that really helps. That can be the spark to get this going forward for them. And I hope they do. Like I liked it. I liked what I saw from this team. They were fun to watch and they were fun to cast. So I hope I see more of it. Now I gotta ask you, who do you think the MVP of this series is?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, it's tempting to give it to Verja after the performance in that game number 2, but I actually thought the Ash was like kind of a passenger in game number 1, not as instrumental to the win. To me, I'd maybe give it to Yipsy. I think Yipsy both games had 4 kill participations very early, and was letting Verja get to this point where he was such a threat. I mean, it's you can make an argument for a lot of players. I thought, like I said before, Ace was doing great in the 1v1 on both the Orin and the Cassante. Darrison was putting out a lot of damage on these mages. Swevel had great objective control. But for me overall, I think my pick for consistency between the two games would be Yipsy in the support role on those engaged tanks, finding angles to these winning fights for Conduit Esports.
Yeah, and I think I'd give it to Yipsy too. I thought Yipsy looked fantastic. And usually, like supports, when they do good, they don't get that recognition. They don't get to be like. It's just expected that your support does good vision and makes good engages or keeps your AD carry safe. So it's really nice to see a support just do so well that you have to recognize it. I like seeing that, and I thought Yipsy was fantastic on these tank supports. Will be interested to see because I haven't got to see him yet on enchanters or not on these engaged tank supports. But if you can play it like this, it's already a good position to be in. Tank supports are strong right now, and there's a lot of them, so a lot of potential. I'm excited to see more of them as the split goes on. And also, thank you everyone for watching today. We've got more games coming up. Let's keep an eye out for the rest of the week. I did see someone in chat asking about the Titan leagues. You can go to TitanEsports.com, look at all the leagues that are available. There is a league there for you. There's multiple leagues with multiple different skill brackets. So you want to sign up, go take a look there. We are in the beginning of this season, so it'll be a couple months until the end. But beginning early of next year, get involved with the community, make some friends, find a team that you're looking to maybe join, maybe even sub. There's always potential, and we'd love to have you here. But that does it from us. Thank you so much, production. Thank you so much, Potatoes, as always. And thank you, teams, and everyone who watched. We'll see you all next week.